long ball number 3 here for Monday, March 24th. Major League Soccer and USL played through the international break while our attention was steered towards international soccer. Vancouver Whitecaps lost for the first time, as did San Diego. But as we were beginning the show, kind of the hottest news of the morning was Montreal actually firing their head coach as we come on. Press release from MajorLeagueSoccer.com. CF Montreal have parted ways with head coach Laurent Courtois. The club announced the assistant coach Marco Donadel will fill in as interim, and this comes just 14 months after his hire. What do we make of this, Jason Davis?
I make of this that Joey Saputo will never change, is what I make of this. And I guess that's a good thing. It's kind of like mildly comforting that Joey Saputo just can't go more than a year or so without firing a coach. It's like just, oh man, it's like I got to get my taxes done. I don't know how it works in Canada, so I don't know about taxes up there, but I got to get my taxes done and get my car into the shop to get the oil change. I got to fire my coach. I haven't done that yet this year.
It's on his drop-down menu of automatic messages. Is just fire coach?
Yeah.
Oh,
Laurent Courtois, his home personal assistant, whichever one he uses, says, reminder, you need to fire your coach. Why? Because. Now, look, they lost 3-0 to Nashville. I have not checked their absences for the window specifically up there in Montreal. You know, they had some of their key players. George Campbell. I see Bryce Duke is in that lineup. Prince Ouso, who they just brought in from Toronto. This past year, Caden Clark got the start. I don't know where he's at in his development. Lucas Petrasso, Canadian international, who obviously wasn't called up. So, I mean, I don't know if this was their full 100% full-strength squad. So maybe this was close enough that they went, well, that's a terrible performance, and you justify firing Laurent Courtois. Man, I can't believe it's happening this early, though.
For context, Montreal has played 5 games, earning just 1 point, 1 draw, and 4 losses, equaling Toronto's record.
But they haven't spent any money. They didn't give Laurent Courtois weapons. He picked up the pieces after Wilfred Nancy left, and managed to keep them mildly competitive last year. I mean, again, they made the playoffs and lost to Atlanta in that knockout game up there in Montreal. I don't know. It seems like how are you going to do better on the other side of this? Who wants to manage the CF Montreal at this point? Like, who really wants this job? I will also throw in there, just because it's out there and it's rumor, this is a club that has been identified as potentially relocating. I know that's come up with Vancouver because of the sale, and there is an idea that Indianapolis is lining up their serious bid to get into Major League Soccer. And would it be a pure expansion situation in Indy, or would they move a club down to Indianapolis, perhaps one of the Canadian sides that's not doing all that great from stadiums or interest, or maybe the owner has lost interest in Montreal. Maybe this doesn't indicate that Joey Saputo is hands off if he's firing yet another coach, but who knows? Again, I'll just throw that out there for CF Montreal.
Other results from the weekend, it looks as though Charlotte FC did not miss their American internationals, getting a 4-1 win over San Jose. Columbus drew 0-0. Cincinnati and Atlanta 2-2. Minnesota, LA Galaxy 2-2.
Let me stop you, Rob. Let me stop you. Because on Friday, we protested picking interesting games, our Fab Four, for the weekend, because of the international break and because of all the players that would be missing. And I'm going to grab some copy from my friend Joe Lowry over at Backheeled. It's cut off a little bit at the top. Let me actually see if I can make that a little bit better for you so you can see what Joe wrote. Instead of rewarding its best teams or its teams for signing some of the best players from countries all over the world, MLS makes those teams operate with a hand behind their backs by playing games without those players. And then again, he mentioned the Vancouver Whitecaps. Thrilled to see their historic perfect start to 2025 end, because they were missing Andres Cubas, Pedro Vite, Ali Ahmed, who was good against the United States, Brian White. If allowing 60% of your league to make the playoffs wasn't enough as a sign that you don't care about the regular season, penalizing teams for having good players sure is one. Go read backheeled.com. Go read what Joe Lowry is writing over there on that website, because he hit the nail on the head. And we said as much on Friday. And I will continue to say, how can you say, hey, here's more money to go spend in the market, or we're going to expand the reach of MLS when it comes to the player pool. We want you to improve. And you know what we wanted you to do? We want you to find the best players, particularly from this region, because clubs are incentivized to go out and find the soft spot. And, oh, by the way, go down to South America and find some talented players. And yeah, it's okay if you want to get a player in development who maybe isn't there yet. But if you can get an international, we're going to celebrate that on our website. We're going to write a big list of all the internationals that got called up from MLS. And we're going to tell people, look at this Colombian, look at this Paraguayan, look at these players that are in Major League Soccer, and they're getting called up by their national teams in soccer crazy places like South America. Europeans who get called up to their national teams? Oh my God. It's like, oh my, look at how great MLS is. And then you play games when those players are gone. And then you tell those teams, you know what? It's terrible that you signed those players, because now you have to play meaningful matches. That could be the difference between making the playoffs and not without those guys. That's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Playing devil's advocate, what do you say to the folks saying, go, play the kids?
I mean, play the kid. Fine. There are other What do you mean play the kids? This is not the Club World Cup if Real Madrid comes here and Mbappe and Vinny Jr. and Bellingham and everybody's available and they choose not to play them. Those players are literally not available because they have to go to their national teams, because that's the way the rules are written. Major League Soccer creates this problem by choosing to play through the breaks. I guess it's okay to see the kids play every once in a while, but in terms of, hey, we built a roster to make the playoffs and we can't even use that roster to go to the playoffs or win games to get us there. Again, some of these teams are going to miss the playoffs by 1 point, Rob. By 1 point. And it could be this weekend that proves to be the difference between going to the postseason, playing for an MLS Cup title, and not.
And it could mean someone's job. Did they make the playoffs or not? You're a coach. You didn't make it.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Laurent Courtois got fired. Laurent Courtois got fired on an international. Now, maybe he had enough of his players that they justify the firing as you had a full-strength squad. But still, this is the kind of thing that doesn't make Major League Soccer look good. Now, my scale still leans to, I like MLS and it's still valuable to me. But let's just say, from Jack's film room, stuff like that is why I can't take MLS serious as a league. And what am I supposed to say? You're wrong, Jack? No, I can't say that.
My mind kind of drifts a little bit. Imagine those fans that went to their game for the first time, went to an Atlanta game for the very first time, and they saw the team as it was there. Maybe they were not as impressed as they could have been, given a full strength lineup. Some perspectives to keep in mind when doing this sort of thing to your calendar. We move along, though. For those who haven't hit subscribe yet, do so. Morning Kickaround on YouTube.com. You can follow along on social media and follow there at Kickaround on all the social media platforms, including X, Instagram, Blue Sky. Send us a note or anything else to morningkickaround@gmail.com. And if you got some loose change, ko-fi.com/morningkickaround. Thank you to all who have donated, and thanks to those who will do so moving forward.